The iPhone 13 Pro was released 3 whole years ago. Now, 3 years in the tech world is an absolute eternity. So the question we're asking today, is the 13 Pro worth it in 2024? Let's find out. All right, the first thing we need to look at is the physical design of this phone. I loved the colors that the 13 Pro came in. I kind of wish we were able to get back to that. Like this forest green color, man, it is absolutely fantastic. Look at that thing, man. It is gorgeous. I'm trying to see if the white balance on my camera doesn't really ruin this, but this forest green color was one of my favorite colors that Apple has ever come out with. I mean, this thing was just so unbelievably pretty to my eyes. Now, it did have the unfortunate cutout at the top. Now, that was before they had the like pill-shaped dynamic island, and so a lot of people thought this was a massive waste of screen real estate, and it kind of was, but in the end, I'm not really sure having the dynamic island is all that better. Like, let's look at a really quick comparison of it. Look at that. One, you got the pill shape at the top. The other one, you got the cutout. Man, it's okay. It's not that big of a deal, but the screen looks fantastic on this thing. It's bright, it's vibrant. I've not had any problems with this screen of like not being able to see or not feeling like it's sharp enough. It's got the Pro Motion. It looks amazing. Like, it's an awesome screen for what it is. The buttons on this thing, as you can see right here, it's got the switch to make it into the silent mode or not, and then it's got volume rockers here, and it's got the physical SIM card, which is actually a pretty big deal for a lot of people. I didn't realize it was such a big deal, but for people who are using their phones overseas or somebody who travels a lot and they have to switch out their SIM card, that is a big deal. A lot of the new phones don't have SIM cards in them. And you'd think that they would come up with a really good solution to that. I'm not sure if they have, because I don't trade out my SIM card like ever. And so if you're in the comments, man, let me know, how are they doing with this physical SIM versus eSIM kind of thing? I'd love to hear about it. Next, let's talk about the speed of this thing. It still feels fantastic. 3 whole years later, this phone feels awesome. Like, this thing doesn't bat an eye at anything you do to it. I'm on Instagram all day, all that kind of stuff, and I never feel anything. Now, I'm not a gamer on the phone. That's cool if you are. I'm sure if you use this phone for gaming, you would feel like it was starting to get slow. But I promise you this, I switch back and forth, because what I do is I keep Instagram on the iPhone 13 so that I don't have it on my daily phone all the time. I like to only use it a few times a week. But when I go back to this phone to use Instagram, this is totally first world problems. But when I go back to that phone to use Instagram, I never feel like it's slow. I never feel like it's a chore. I never feel like it's any different than my iPhone 15. Now, I don't do heavy lifting on my phone, so if you're like really doing a lot of like video editing and stuff like that, which I always find so interesting that people video edit on their phones, don't do that. That's not what this phone is going to be for. This is for the just daily use of a regular person who's just going on YouTube, going on Instagram, going on emails and stuff like that. It works fantastic for that. Now, the next thing we need to talk about is battery life. The battery life on this thing, for me, it is a little bit worse than my 15, which is unfortunate, but it's still not bad. Like, if I carry around a battery bank and plug it in, now it is still the old lightning port, which is not fun because I love everything USB-C, but if I have a battery bank with me, it lasts the whole day, no problem. It charges up fairly fast. It's not as fast, anywhere near as fast as the iPhone 15 or 15 Pro, but it still is a solid battery life if you're not using it 24/7 all day. Next, let's talk about the price. I'm finding these things on Amazon for about $490, or you can find them on eBay for as low as $350 for a phone that works fantastic. Battery life is solid. Screen looks amazing. That, to me, is a pretty solid deal. I love this thing about Apple products these days. You can get Apple products that are, years old and are a couple generations behind, and they still feel fantastic. You don't have to go to a brand new phone for this thing to feel good. This phone feels awesome. It runs fast. Battery life is awesome. And so if you're getting this thing for $350, that's a wild, wild deal on a phone that is fantastic, and it gets you into the Apple ecosystem, which is really big in my mind. Like, if you want to have a really good experience on an iPad and on a MacBook and on a phone and on your watch and in your AirPods, all of that costs a lot of money to be a part of. And so if you can go back a generation or two, it works fine. So 2024, do I recommend the iPhone 13 Pro? Absolutely. It's a fantastic phone. If you buy one, you're gonna love it. Even as a backup phone, a lot of people don't have backup phones. I get it. But if you drop your phone and it shatters, or if you drop your phone and it kind of gets, I've had a phone get destroyed in water, even though they're supposed to be protected from that. It still does happen, and so having a backup phone is always helpful. So in 2024, I really do think it's worth it. Let me know in the comments below if you agree. Maybe you disagree, that's totally fine. Like this video. I'll see you all in the next one.